Hey everyone, I am Edie Perkins. I'm the executive director at the KBF. And my experience with track and field is more on the hand cycling side of things. I used to be an avid runner and cyclist, and almost 9 years ago, I got hit by a car while I was off on a just typical bike ride. And that's when I became paralyzed, and I am a T5 complete. So, not long after that, since I'd been in marathons and seen people racing and race wheelchairs and hand cycles, I had a vision for what I wanted to do. And so it wasn't long after I left rehab that I got into hand cycling. And I was on a women's para cycling team and used to do cycling races around the country, and loved those competitions. Then I started this role at the KBF and no longer had time to do all that travel and training. So since I've been here, I've really just been doing racing different marathons, Boston, New York. There's a half marathon here in Burlington, Vermont, where I'm now living, that I like to do. So anytime I can do a race like that, I do it because it's fun to just get out there and have the whole road and be safe. But otherwise, I just do a lot of riding. So over to you, Rob.
I'm gonna follow your path. My name is Rob Balukas. I'm a T10 complete, arguably. And I think that's what I was last time I was measured. And yeah, I was training for a half Ironman, and I lived in San Francisco, and I crashed the weekend before that half Ironman in a on a hill that's known for cyclists crashing. No car involved, just me not navigating the turn very well. And uh, in short, just kind of went on a campaign after that, vowed to do a triathlon within a year, and did three, and then was watching the Ironman World Championships on TV, and got inspired and saw someone who was there or knew someone who was there, and texted him and said, I want to do, Kona. And he said, we will help you. And I qualified just in time for the pandemic, and finally raced 2 years later and didn't finish, which annoyed me. This is my whole story about triathlon is about not finishing or doing bad and wanting to do better, and I just can't catch a break. So didn't finish in Kona, but then actually, and before that, I didn't finish in Nice at the Half Ironman World Championships, and then finally the following year was 2023. I think I finished Ironman California, which is a very very flat and fast and easy course in the realm of Ironman. And then last year qualified and then raced for at the Half Ironman World Championships in Topa, New Zealand, which was kind of a destination race, because it's that town in that country is very supportive of that race. And it was a dream, and now I'm taking a gap year, if you will, to coach more. I just got done coaching here in LA this past weekend at Angel City Games at the youth weekend.
Awesome, Rob. That's great. How
Yeah.
fun.
Really cool. What ages do you coach again? Sorry, I might have missed that.
Um, whatever age will get in a race chair, hand cycle, or
Cool.
swim.
All right, sweet. That's awesome.
You have to teach me
Yeah.
how to do the race chair.
Really cool. Rob, why don't you just popcorn to someone, anyone that you'd like?
Yeah, Skylar.
As soon as you said that, I knew he was going to choose me. So,
Who I may or may not have coached before or taught anything to.
You're a good coach.
I'm Skylar Fisher. I'm a resident athlete in Colorado Springs, on the para triathlon team. So I did a little bit of track and field and swimming before I started triathlon. And I've been doing a little bit more hand cycling. I just got back from the U.S. paracycling time trials. So,
Oh,
yep.
nice. How'd you do?
Uh, it could have been worse. I mean, I was so close to the standard, so it kind of sucks, but
Oh,
I used to be slower than molasses, so we're getting there.
good. How was the turnout?
There was a lot of people. They had like I think 16 new people.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so it was really good.
That's great. Thanks, Skylar.
Yeah.
You can popcorn to the next person.
Justin.
Could have guessed it. Thanks, Skylar. Uh, let's see. I'm Justin. I do triathlon. I was a D1 runner back in the day. When I
Nice.
got hurt, had just kind of I got hurt at 30 and kind of had just resurrected my like, maybe I'll try and run again a bit more seriously. And it popped in a couple halves and, you know, done the like washed up athlete thing in New York as a professional in tech. And then did New York, bonked pretty hard, didn't do
Did you run
that
for
great.
a team?
What's that?
Did you run for a team out there?
No, we founded the Road Runners, and we had a really great lobster on the jersey. We made jerseys. I'm still very proud of my jersey.
I used to be
Um,
in New York City when I was a runner, so I know the whole
nice.
thing there.
Well, you would not recognize the Red Hook Road Runners. It was my brother and I and good friend from college, and we just went
That's
around tearing up turkey trots.
that's
But um, yeah, I kind of like dabbled in racing chair after I got hurt. It's the first thing I kind of want to get back into, that and skiing, and like got back to the line at New York pretty quick. It was like within the first year or so after injury, and I had owned a racing chair for like a month and a half, and it was pretty silly out there. I got it done though, finished. It wasn't great, and then kind of put it back on the shelf. Like I never really had coaching, didn't really know what I was doing. The chair was a little wide for me. I was banging my biceps pretty hard, but uh, this is how I know Skylar. In 2023, was that like late summer, got the invite to like go down to the training center to do the development camp for try. I had like figured out how to swim, and as a T6 complete, have like the little swim brace to like lock the legs straight and together. And uh, yeah, it rekindled all the like, oh, I gotta like pretend play at being a serious athlete again, which was really fun. It got me motivated. And then uh, it just kind of snowballed from there. I retained Ken Axford as my coach beginning of 24, competed with Skylar at the like Cam Tri Miami championships in Miami, like the North and South American champs, and just got back from Abu Dhabi like a month ago for my first World Cup. And I'm in pretty decent shape. And yeah,
oh,
I'm a lot faster now.
that's great.
Justin, that's awesome. Can you explain kind of in your beginning stages a little bit? You sounded like you kind of did it more independently rather than getting instruction or like with an adaptive sport program. Can you kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah. So I'm very passionate now about the on-ramps to the sports. Like working a lot with Jacob Hillville here in the Denver metro area, who's doing wonderful things for the sport and like helping people find awareness and like get gear and try stuff out and on-ramp on. Because like I didn't have that. I just like knew I wanted to do a thing, raised a little money on the side, got connected to someone who had a chair, got his hand-me-down chair, and then just started like pushing on the Platte River. And I mean, I had a couple buddies that like Kevin Mather had done Kona, the Ironman. Like he knows what he's doing when it comes to racing chair and is a great coach. So yeah, he gave me pointers along the way, but it was a lot of just kind of figure it out solo stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and that's not the best way to do it because now that I've had, retain a coach and like am much more plugged in uh, to the expert class, such as Skylar, I'm learning how to actually push a chair and not look like a goof. And you go a lot faster. It's wild. Actually, I did Owita, the marathon in November in Japan.
Oh,
And
fun.
despite a loose wheel and a sort of like comedy of errors, still was sort of in like the mid 140s. So like, um, yeah,
That's
progressed a lot.
awesome. That's so great for you. How long have you been injured?
I got hurt in 2016. Actually my 9 year life day is next Wednesday.
Oh, yeah, I was 2017. My 9 years coming up.
There you go.
Wait, how are you 2016 and I was 2017?
Because
Maybe my 8 years.
9 years is going to be in next year.
Oh my gosh, I can't do math anymore.
That's all right. Yeah,
When
they all
you're
just run
there's
together after a while, right?
I'm only 8 years old.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you, Justin, for sharing that. You want to popcorn to the next?
Yeah, sure. Popcorn Cindy.
Okay. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm with the Great Lakes Adaptive Sports Association, have been involved in para track and field for a long time. My first athlete was Jean Driscoll, who is a wheelchair marathon runner and as well as Paralympian. And so kind of fast forward and Amy's on here also, who is now a coach, but also one of our Paralympic athletes. But we provide a continuum of track and field to the developmental athlete, to those that are looking to compete at the Paralympic level. And being located in the Midwest, we also work very closely with University of Illinois Champaign, and we've had a number of our athletes go on to school there as well as to compete. So excited to be on this, and I'm gonna go on over to Amy.
Sorry if my dogs are barking. I'm Amy. It's great to be on here. Thank you. I did do track when I was younger, and I did make it to a Paralympic team in 2000. Unlike you guys that are on here, my injury happened about 30 years ago. I was only 2 years old. So I grew up with a spinal cord injury. I'm T12. So I really didn't know that sport was even out there until I ran into Cindy when I was 12 years old at a grocery store of all places. And that really opened up my personality. It gave me an outlet to kind of be like every other kid, which was so important. I didn't realize it then, but as an adult looking back, it really gave me a lot of confidence. Tried every sport until I found track, which I wanted nothing to do with because the chairs are so uncomfortable. And, I was a teenage girl, so I just wanted it to be, ballet or dance but I jumped in and the speed was addicting. And runner's high is true, I think, whether or not you're able-bodied or in a chair. So I got addicted to that. Was able to compete internationally, live at Chula. I did some training camps in Colorado Springs as well. And then I retired, got married, and had a couple kids and kind of stayed back off of that for a while until I realized it's so easy for me to bring my kids to the YMCA, right, to compete in sport. My husband was a D1 pitcher for baseball. We knew we wanted our kids to be involved in that, but we didn't care what, just something. But it made me remember kids like me, right? What are they doing? Where can they go? I moved away from the Chicago area where Glassa is out of. But I called up Cindy and I said, what can I do? So I started coaching track for them and really got addicted to that aspect of it. One, it's a little easier for me. There's not the training aspect of it. I don't have to do that. But really seeing the impact that sport has on people, especially at the grassroots level, just how much that opens their life up. So I've been doing that now for 15 years and I truly enjoy it.
That's great to hear, Amy. It's nice also to see from your perspective as well. So thanks for joining. I also just wanted to quickly announce too, you guys have an event coming up that I want you guys to talk about. It doesn't have to be now, but if you'd like, you can share that. Thank you. All right, you can popcorn to whoever, Amy, if you'd like. Oh, sorry.
I keep muting it.
It's okay.
Joe is next on my screen.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Walsh. I live here in Boston and I run an organization called Adaptive Sports New England. We try and reach New England because I spent a lot of my time in northern New England. Although in truth, a lot of our work gets done right here in Greater Boston, um, inside the 495 belt if you're from the region. So we run a youth program with wheelchair track, and we've helped out a few adult wheelchair track athletes as well. But predominantly, our work is with youth. We've got a small group that just seasonally does track, and in the wintertime and fall they play basketball, and we've got a few who do swimming. We have a multi-sport program here with Adaptive Sports New England. Also have the pleasure every year of, or at least for the last 6 or 7 years, being at the finish line of the Boston Marathon and sort of welcoming all the wheelchair racers and hand cyclists as they come across the finish line and into their recovery space, and switching back into their day chairs and getting a little rehydration and whatever else they need before they leave, head out of the zone. But that's always a lot of fun and good stuff. Um,
I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. So we're gonna have some fun there for sure. Hopefully, it's gonna be a nice day like today. Um, but the previously, I before I came and started Adaptive Sports New England, which was about 11 years ago, I had the privilege of working with the USOPC in the Paralympic division for about 10 years, and got really in, ensconced into all the rules and regs and the qualification processes and the classifications and all that for Paralympic sport generally, or across all the different sports. So I've got some good exposure to that, both in hand cycling and in track and field. So I've got some good background in that arena. I'm not a wheelchair user. I've never gotten into a racing chair or into a hand cycle. I was a cross country skier, a Paralympian. I'm blind, so I was in the Paralympics in cross country skiing, and enjoyed that a couple of times. Had the privilege of doing that. Um, but like I said, had a good run with the USOPC around between 2000 and 2012 regarding going across all the different sports. So I met several of you before, and but happy to help out anybody if they're going to be in and around Boston area, or if I can help in any other way. Yeah. So, um, I'd popcorn it to the next person, but I can't see the screen, so I don't know who's here.
No worries. Thank you so much, Joe. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're such a great connector for all the individuals out on the Northeast. So thank you.
Yeah.
I'll popcorn it to the other Joe, Joe Palmero, if that's
Joe
how you say your last
Pomeroy.
name.
I'm in the Greenville, South Carolina area, and I'm here just to maybe learn something. I'm not a track and field guy. I'm just a hardcore hand cyclist, so maybe I'll learn something new that's not hand cycle related. And I do both road and gravel on the hand cycle and ride about 6 to 7 thousand miles a year. T7 since 2013, and I was injured due to an engine failure on a road racing motorcycle back in 13, and sent me off the track, and I became a ping pong ball in trees. So that is what it is.
What do you use for gravel?
I have been developing a Tie Arrow gravel specific hand cycle since 2023. The concept for the bike is all my idea. They're manufactured in Sweden. They're all titanium. There's no other bike like it in the.
Wait, do you run Tyro?
No. I just work with Tie Arrow, and
I think I know what they look like. Is that what Alicia Dana has?
we got a Tie Arrow gravel bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think she got it through a grant from KBF as well.
She did.
And the concept, they had a bike already called the Keb, and I test rode it. And they asked me what I thought of it, and I said it's got some nice features, but I'd never buy one. And they asked me why, and I gave them 5 specific design changes. And my background is mechanical engineering, And 5 months later, I did a prototype, and then I had one of the first ones in June of 2013, and been developing it since. And I'm currently developing a suspension frame bike with them right now. And I've won the gravel men's H3 class, USA Cycling National Championship last 2 years running. So yeah, but the gravel bike is the unique thing about the Tie Arrow, if anybody's interested, is it is a true ultralight weight bike that can go off road.
Yes.
And I mean, it can pretty much do anything. I've ridden on the road, and it's not that far off my carbon bike, up to about 15 miles an hour. Then Arrow comes into play above 15.
Yeah.
And of course, it's phenomenal on gravel. And I've even ridden on single track. And the weight of of course, I'm running non-E assist and pretty high spec as far as components go.
Yeah.
But I've got mine down to 31 pounds, which is not far off what a carbon bike is. A carbon bike is around 26, 27 pounds these days. So the Tie Arrow, and I've tried to break it. I've tried to break this bike
Yeah.
down. I mean, I sent it down at Gravel Nationals. I sent it down a hill. I hit 43 miles an hour with washboard. Bike was bouncing all over, and it just took it. You know, it's all titanium, carbon wheels, you know, all the top SRAM components. But yeah, if you have any curiosity about the Tie Arrow, it really is a phenomenal bike. It really does do everything. And maybe I'm being a little sales pitchy here, but the nice thing about it is, you know, I live alone and I have a wagon, and I can just pick the bike up, no problem, throw it back in my wagon.
Okay.
You know,
Do you know
a lot
Mike
of
Salas?
yeah, a lot of these off-road bikes. Yeah, Mike is actually working for Tie Arrow now.
Yeah.
So,
I've been riding with him now and again, and I'll be out on, the carbon bike, and he's riding the
yeah,
Tie Arrow, and we'll go,
yeah, and
climb left hand, and
yeah,
he's cruising.
yeah, it's the titanium absorbs nicely,
Yeah.
and of course I'm running tubeless. So
Yeah,
when
of
I'm running
course.
gravel, I can run 20, 25 PSI, and that's pretty comfortable when you're doing that. And but yeah, I mean it opens up a whole lot of worlds. Yeah, you can still
100%.
ride a road, but you can still go up mountains with it and do gravel. So,
Have you messed around a lot with like the full mountain bikes, the bombers, the explorers, so like the, two up front crouch
not
position?
not so much. I can't do that prone position because part of my injury, I broke 16 ribs, and I just can't put that kind of pressure on my chest.
Pressure. Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah.
the ribs
Okay.
that I broke. My body just can't take that position. I wouldn't mind trying
Hmm.
some other ones, doing downhill, with suspension, things like
Sure.
that. That'd be kind of cool. But if
Hmm.
if somebody has, if they are living alone or solo or things like that, like I said, the lightweight makes such a massive difference. You don't need e-assist.
Yep.
I do have a e-assist hub drive wheel for when I ride locally with my upright friends. Because when I do ride with uprights on gravel, there's so much rolling resistance. The only way I can keep up with them is with a little bit of boost. So, I need like about 75 watts of boost only. I can keep up with them between 75 and 100. So, and that's easy to add on. And I'm the one thing I can offer the group is I'm kind of a mechanical geek, even background engineering. So, I've done e-assist add-on systems to different bikes,
Hmm.
brake upgrades, drivetrain upgrades. I can steer people to good stuff and keep them away from the bad stuff. And so that's one thing I can offer the group. I know a lot of tri people may not be very well versed in bikes, and I'm happy to help anyone. That's kind of one of the things I try and do is give back and point people into good directions and talk about options that are out there. One thing I've learned is that a lot of people who get injured and they find either triathlon or hand cycling in general, a lot of these people have never ridden a bike before. So they don't know anything about bikes. They don't know how to fix them. They don't know what to spec. And so many people make really poor decisions up front, and then they end up having to buy another bike or get
All right,
another.
Joe, how do we get a hold of you?
Uh,
Asking selfishly.
Put your
uh,
stuff in the
Yeah,
I'll
chat.
Joe,
put
if you
my
don't mind,
Yeah.
you could put your email in the
Throw
chat,
your info.
or
yeah,
that
I'll
would be
put my
great.
info in the chat.
I'm
But
specking
yeah,
a bike right now, and I'm about to pull the trigger, and I need your wisdom and guidance.
yeah, no problem. I do have a philosophy, just so you know, is buy the right stuff one time.
An excuse to spend more money. Come on, let's talk.
Yep. Yep. So, that's one way I will steer people because when you buy the
Okay.
good stuff one time, A, it lasts, B,
Yeah.
it works right, and C, you don't have to rebuy. So in the
Just
long run,
don't get it stolen like I did with my mountain bike 3 months after I bought it.
No.
Oh no,
that
yeah.
would suck. You can get insurance on bikes,
I
by the way.
did. I was made whole. It was renter's insurance helped me out, but
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we have some more
Yeah.
people to
Yep. I'll,
introduce.
I'll get on. I talk too
Thank you,
much.
Joe. I really
So,
appreciate it. I think it's nice I mean, you can always chat about different sports and they have a lot of connection between different things. So thank you so much for being that point of
yep.
contact. Let's go to Naomi next.
Yeah, I jumped on late, so you got to catch me up what you want.
No
For
worries.
me?
We're just chatting so about track and field, and you can kind of share your experience with the sport if you have any experience with the sport. Um, and yeah, you can introduce yourself.
I'm Naomi. I've been paralyzed it'll be my 20 year, my half life in July. Crashed on an ATV and broke T7. I'm a T7 complete. It took about, I don't know, it took a long time for me to get into the sports because I didn't know anybody. This was before Facebook. This was before, all the awesome parts of social media. So I happened to bump into a guy at a beer festival and he was on a Freedom Rider LC1 hand cycle. And I recognized right away that he was paralyzed. So I went up and introduced myself and he got me into it. So my first bike was a Freedom Rider LC1. At one point, I ended up modifying it and adding an e-assist. I'm in Western Massachusetts, but you can verify that the hills where I am particularly are pretty rough. I do some pretty serious elevation every time I go out. So then I was getting pretty tired of the LC1, even with the assist. I didn't like how heavy it was and the fact that I was limited to if my batteries die, I can't get myself back. Not with the hills where I'm at, it's just too heavy. So I ended up getting a grant through KBF and got myself a top end Force RX, which I love. And so I've never competed. I just love to be active. So I do a ton of biking by myself. My biggest claim to fame is that I was able to do the KBF Century, which was a big accomplishment for me. So that was
You're the
awesome.
first woman ever to do it.
Yes, I was the first woman ever to do it.
It was awesome.
Yeah, I was pretty determined. And I've been training all winter for it. I'm excited for the KBF ride in September, and I'm hoping to do the Century again.
You are?
That's my goal. We'll see. Stay tuned.
I need to ride with you this summer.
Yeah,
Naomi,
do.
did you find bib tights?
No.
Oh my gosh. I'm sending you a link right now.
Okay.
I actually have a cautionary tale on that.
Oh boy.
Cautionary tail. There's a pun in there somewhere. We'll find it. I am in the process of like new bike, um, Howie Sanborn's old carbon bike, and I got new foam seating together and didn't work yet at the time with Aspen to like get the foam carved out and float the tailbone and the sacral bone stuff, and ischials rather, and I ended up with a really gnarly pressure sore because I was out on a really cold day in the garage grinding on and like I'd done the like ride 15 minutes, check it, ride the hour, check it. Was like, this thing's safe, we're good. But then given the weather, I had put on like just bulkier clothing, like boxers and Lululemon pants or whatever, and just like, well, I'll be warm and hopped in, and the friction of the clothing against my skin, like just ground a hole in my ass. So I literally just started training again last week. I was out for about a month and maybe 5 weeks. So the bib with the cushioning and just making sure your seating is dialed and like those variables matter, the clothing you're in. So highly recommend you want the movement between your clothing and the bike, not your skin and the clothing.
Right.
Yeah.
I would add if you want to reach out to, if you're a female, reach out to Alicia Dana, Paralympian
Yeah.
Alicia Dana. because
That's not
she's
her.
dealt with sores and she's had like this last winter, she kind of went through hell a little bit, but she can probably give a lot of advice for women in particular based on what she's gone through.
Yeah,
So the only thing I was going to ask, Naomi, a lot of topic. You ride horses, right?
I do.
What is it like riding as a para?
It's extremely difficult. It's extremely difficult. Yeah, but I love it. Horses have been in my blood my whole life. That's my first passion. I that was my full-time job before I got hurt. I was working with horses. So yeah, it's there's for me, I'm a trail rider. Get me out in the woods. I love that. So you've got a lot of variables. You've got terrain you're dealing with. You've got things that can spook the horse. I mean, you name it. There's challenges out there, and not having abdominal core, low back muscles, all that. It's very difficult, but as the more I do it, the better I get at it. I have a
Do
seatbelt.
you strap in at all?
Yep, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, so my hips are strapped in, and then I strap my feet into the stirrups. Um, and some people think that's insane and dangerous, and it is, but I love it. And if that's how I die, you can be sure that I died happy.
I'm just curious because I got back on a road racing motorcycle and raced again.
Yeah,
And so it was a totally different experience with limited
yeah.
core and no lower body. So that's why I asked.
Did you ever meet Vincent Haskevich?
I never met him. You asked me, and
Okay,
I mean,
I thought I did.
he kind of checked out of the community, quite a while ago.
Completely. I know. It's a bummer. I don't know why. Sorry. Side
Yeah.
note.
Sorry, pass on.
No worries. It's always nice to hear conversation. You guys are such a great group to talk with. Let's go to Scott next.
Had to unmute myself there.
No worries.
Scott Porter, T4 para. But I don't even dwell on the date. So let's see. I guess I'm now 16 years post. All that. My main activity is hand cycling. My cheat sport, don't tell the hand cycle this, is CrossFit, so that I have something else to do. My tip about, and I do a lot of long distances. I'm registered for my 15th RAGBRAI this July, and those are always 400 to 500-mile rides in a week. So you're doing a lot of riding just in that week, but also a lot of riding coming up. I actually transfer my a pressure relieving cushion from a wheelchair onto my seat. When you're riding that much, as light and as fast as an RX is, I like to be able to see. It's kind of like the difference between being in an SUV and a little sports car. You just have a lot more visibility, and especially when you're riding crowds or training by yourself, you need to just see. So I ride, sitting up.
But
so,
in an RX.
Pardon?
But still in an RX.
No. So my long distance riding rig is a Force 3, just a plain old Force 3, so that I'm able to look around and see. And in fact, the other reason not to use just the plain old cushions that come, I've had two friends who've done things like RAGBRAI with me that have now passed because of complications they got from pressure sores while riding that kind of distance. And they're all young men. I'm just an old geezer. So I know not to even tempt fate. But I could never get them to do their pressure relief wheelchair cushions on their thing. But yeah,
I
you
have a
just
quick question just for the group. I know someone mentioned that the track chairs can be quite uncomfortable. Can someone also explain maybe a little bit about the equipment options for track and field, or if you're doing competitive racing in that sort of way?
well, and
Yeah.
I'll be a good
Oh,
one.
Yeah.
My legs are just too big to fold underneath me in a track chair. So my wheelchair I use for triathlons and all that. I have the foot plate down low and bend over because there's just no way I'm going to be able to fold my legs up and be kneeling in the seat like a lot of the other athletes. But there's always people that look at my track chair real funny. It's like, what's that down low next to the ground? And it's like, well, that's the foot plate. I don't try to fold myself up or try to keep my center of gravity. Just with the width of my legs and all that it's just not. There's no way to get a good center of gravity leaning slightly forward so that you don't tip backwards and become, I don't want to become a C6 because I flip backwards out of my wheelchair, right? So,
there,
so that's one of the ones that, people don't realize you can do is to have your legs actually down and not folded up underneath you.
Great, thanks, Scott.
I was going to add to that a little bit. You can change seating like that. You can either sit with your feet down more like you are sitting in your everyday chair, more competitively. And if you're able to, it is my favorite way to sit. But like Joe said, I'm going to piggyback on that. Buy the right equipment, buy it one time. What we tend to see is people want to try track or get a track chair, and they get fitted by somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing, and they'll come pushing out there. Their biceps are hitting on the sides. And so if somebody here is looking to get a chair, I would love to help you do it for free. Or seating positions. I know we have an athlete of ours that is in Colorado Springs as well, and he's sent me videos of some of the chair racers, and I've tried to help them with their form. That's a hill they'll die on. Get the right form, and the speed will come. But with the seating positions, yeah, that's tricky. And sometimes you get your chair and you have to adjust stuff with foam, or we'll cut up yoga mats and like tuck it in the right spots. Or some people's legs are different sizes, different things like that. But yeah, as long as you can get in a track chair and you feel comfortable in it, especially if it's just something you want to try out. A lot of the younger kids will start with the foot plate and then transition into the tucked position. That does take some getting used to doing, but not everybody's able to bend their legs either. So I don't know if that's helpful.
Definitely.
That's very
I
helpful.
was going to add as well, just as a resource out here on the West Coast in California, same as Amy, if anyone from the top of the state to the bottom to Arizona to Nevada, if anyone is interested in getting fitted for a track chair, please connect me, find me anywhere on social media or whatever. Because I went through, my 10 years, almost 10 years at Edie. I've gone through 3 chairs, which, through KBF grants and CAF grants and Victoria's Victory grants and everything else. I've spent about $40,000 at this point on chairs that did not fit. Even the last one didn't fit correctly, and I had to get it adjusted. And the difference between, I think, like Justin was saying, where the inside of the bicep is striking the fender of the wheel, and just getting it corrected to have the finally in this 3.5 version 3.5 chair that I have is finally the correct size for me. And the difference between the Boston qualifying time, Joe, for me 2 years ago before that chair and the very next day, my training pace became the Boston Marathon qualifying pace. To TLDR, I was much faster with the correct size chair. It makes a huge difference. And for me, coaching kids, I really think that they walk away from this sport because they have a bad experience in too big of a chair that they borrowed from someone else, because these things start at $6,000
Yeah.
and they go on to other things. And my like MO, my mission is to like get them in in a correctly sized chair as quick as possible to have a positive experience and get more Californians, get more like the people out here on the West Coast where I feel like there's barely a community into having a positive experience in a race chair for track or marathon or whatever. There was something I was going to add to that, but yeah, that's the biggest deal is like getting that sizing right. And when these chairs cost so much, it's incredibly difficult.
Especially when you have a 7 or 8 year old that comes to you, and you have a lot of adult chairs. Like that's real hard to try to figure that out. I very much agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Rob and Amy, I might be in contact with you guys. Maybe I could put some resources on the active project. So if people have some questions, especially in those areas, they can reach out.
Please do.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. I just add Jacob's contact there, Jacob Hillville. Megan, I'm happy to I
I
can share
will.
his
Yeah,
info
maybe
in the
I'll do.
channel.
That'd be great.
I used to race with Jacob.
Yeah,
I had a
he's
different last name then, but
yeah.
I knew him back 20, 25 years ago. Great to see that he came back and all he's doing in Colorado.
100%. He like going to Oita with him was wild. He's the mayor of that
I
entire
bet.
event. It's
Must have
unbelievable.
been very boring.
Yeah, yeah. Every auntie in that entire city is like, "Oh my God, Jacob." The man is
Yeah.
hilarious. But he truly like I just went through like a huge ordeal. Top End sent me a replacement frame for the original frame they sent me. Like, they've been wonderful and really work with me on this. But like getting it dialed and correct uh, matters so much. And I've worked now with a lot of different, very like heavies in the sport on fit, and Jacob is like, I trust him
I
implicitly
would
at this
too.
point.
I
Yeah,
absolutely would too. He's a good
yeah,
one to go to.
I was saying,
And that's
Megan,
the thing is
there's
maybe
others in
with,
other regions too, like Krieger
yeah,
down in the south, and I know
yeah.
Carlos is
Kriega.
is in Virginia.
Yeah.
Craig is there. Yeah. So at the very least, I think put us on there and then we can connect you with somebody who can help you in your area because the best way to do it is to have somebody there in person with you.
Yeah. It's wild how like I mean, a lot of the guys right like kick a knee forward to like slot the hips in and then kick the knee back to like really lock in. Like just like you don't want a loose shoe as a runner. Like you need to be, and I think most people that do fits are too conservative on, well, you might gain some weight, you might da 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 da. And it's like, okay, you're out there running with your shoelaces loose. Like you're not gonna run very fast. Um, so things like this that you really need to be pretty sucked in there.
It's even more important in track too, because those little tiny movements allow you to
Yeah,
stay in your lane,
to hip it.
So yeah.
Yeah. And we've been sharing like there's a lot of upper T spine, low C, like with minimal core, trying to like not have your hands off the power and like gripping the steering fork to try and stay on your
No,
line. Like it doesn't work. You have to be able to
hip
get
it.
that front wheel where you need. And I would like that was my night and day. Rob, you talk about like in a new chair, what can really be the difference? It's like, A, I can hip it now, and B, I'm not clobbering my biceps. And so the stroke is way cleaner. Amy, to your point, like form before everything. Um,
I
I'm
was
really,
gonna
really
say
excited to get out on the track. I have like no sense of how fast I can
Skylar's
go
gonna
now.
laugh.
I'll be watching
Yeah.
even the Paralympians and I'll be like, oh, I just want to tweak that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
yes, you've been doing this a long time, but it's so important.
So what
And I
about
mean from
finding
other
gear?
countries, not from our country. We have great
Yeah,
Paralympic coaches.
yeah. What about
I'd say
finding gear? Like, oh, sorry,
Here,
Rob.
no, I was just saying Skylar's gonna laugh because I gotta tell a or Josh Sweeney story because what clued me in is he said, you get out of your race chair way too easy. He's like, the
Yeah,
guys that I know,
yeah,
they have to like shift a hip, wedge their way out of the chair, and it just tells
yeah.
me that your chair is too wide. And I was like, you're right. And so when I got this new frame and I was wedging my butt into the chair and couldn't get out of it when I was done after a workout, I was like, I'm in the right size frame because I can't get out. That's how you know.
people show up in Dean's to do track practice. I'm like, this isn't gonna
Yeah,
work.
yeah. T2 suffers a little bit, I have to imagine, from a transition in the try perspective, but figure that out. Yeah, gear like I've got a, an old set of zip discs that have a different axle depth and are just like a very different wheel than my new Karimas, and I'd like to be on sort of the training set and the race set be basically the same and not have like this big shift. Like I'm not going to run the, you know, racing tires on my training setup, but like uh, I want to pick up a set of used Karima discs that aren't in too bad a shape. I don't really know. So, like there's the Sport Aids and some of those websites of the world, but usually
Probably
that's new.
Roll, Eagle, yeah, all that stuff.
But that's all
Um,
new, right?
what? Those are all new. There
Yeah.
is, are you on Wheelchair There's a Facebook group that does
There's
that.
essentially, I was just on it today. There's essentially 3 Facebook groups that channel
Yeah.
everything used. That's it. I was like looking on OfferUp. I was looking on eBay. There's essentially, like, I think most of these faces that I see here, I know are in that group. Like, it's
We're
literally
trying
the only place.
The active
Mm.
project now has a classified section where you can
Ooh.
buy and sell used equipment. However, it's brand new and nobody's using it yet. So,
What's the name of it? I can spread the word for that.
oh, good.
Send it in the chat, but it is new,
Oh.
so we are developing it, and there's some postings on it. But I would love for you guys
So
to
it's
share some
live. I
things on there.
can post something now because
Yeah.
Kelly had first mentioned it before it was live, and I didn't know if
It
was
is live.
still live.
It is,
All right.
yeah. Just
I
like,
have stuff I've got to take some pictures of too.
but yeah, it's the starting point, and definitely spread the word. It'd be a great. I know there's a lot of different pages, but it'd be nice to get things on this page.
Are you on discs, Justin?
Yes. Yeah. 700 just Karima discs. Um,
Do you have your own
I've got to
rings?
have.
I would
Yes,
say,
I've
Justin,
got
I
a
may know a
couple sets.
couple people with some used Karimas if you're.
I'm
if that's what you're
thinking
looking for.
too.
I
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
My main
So
secret
yeah,
goal
just
for this
asking
call
people.
is accomplished.
Yeah.
I find that you just gotta be patient and watch it like all the time.
Mhm.
Stuff will always pop up, but you just gotta be there at the right time.
I'm gonna mention it now, what Megan was referring to at the beginning-ish of the call, as long as everybody's gone. Have they?
I believe whoever, I haven't called on the people that are muted or camera off. So if you guys would like to share it, but yes, please feel free to share your event.
I was just gonna say we're doing our Great Lakes games where we offer, Cindy, maybe you can talk a little bit more about this because I really just focus on the track
Yep,
part, not even the
absolutely.
field part.
So, so we're hosting the Great Lakes Games by the Hartford. It's a Move United competition, and we have clinics, we have socials for track and field. It's a level 3. So the same officials that you're going to see, or you did see, I guess I should say, at Paralympic trials are also at our games. So it's a great event for the beginner athlete, but also for that elite Paralympic hopeful. And so we not only have competition for individuals who have spinal cord injuries, but kind of across the board classification in track and field. And then we also have other sports to include archery, powerlifting. Got to think of my bocce.
Are we doing a mini try this year?
Yes. So all of this, we're working with Dare to Try to do a triathlon, and super excited about that. In that we have, as Amy said, a number of our kids who are doing track, also are doing triathlon. And, Lucas Junt, who was at Paralympic trials, just switched over to the training center in Colorado Springs. So, kind of dabbing in that. We also have swimming and just some demo, like football and just some sports, tennis, pickleball. If any of you guys have not tried pickleball, the up and coming sport, but it's really a ton of fun. And it's June 11th through June 15th. We also have some virtual offerings specifically targeting youth and the inclusive and pair program at the collegiate level. And then also Debbie McFadden will do a session on financial resources for college athletes. So yeah, would love to have you guys. And yeah, come on out to the Midwest. It's easy to get in and out of O'Hare. So
I'm just going to add something real quick, and then I do have to go. I do Zoom workouts on rollers. If you have a roller, you can jump on. And we do cardio workouts every Tuesday and Thursday, and it's free to jump on. And I have athletes in New York. I have athletes in North Dakota, just kind of all over where they jump on, and we do a quick roller workout. Typically, we're done. Never takes more than an hour. But just nice to connect with other people and get on there and see what we're all doing. Plus, I can see your form perfectly when you're on a roller. So I love it very much from the coaching side.
absolutely. I was just going to add, Amy, since I know
Yeah.
you've got a class coming up, but we also do conditioning, which is just a general conditioning program. And our trainer, we have Monday and Wednesday, will hop on and watch, like, hey, you're doing, and it's an inclusive class, but it's fun if, you don't have that live option, weather is bad, whatever. And sense of community is really fun. We kind of, hey, what's the weather in North Dakota or wherever we may be? So yeah, happy to have you guys join us.
That's great. I can add those to the events calendar too, just so everyone's aware of those events. So that'd be great.
Awesome. Thank you guys. Lovely to meet you all.
Thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Amy.
Bye.
Well, I just want to thank you guys so much for joining tonight. It's so nice to hear all your guys' input and ideas about the sport. I feel like you guys have shared a lot, and I know it was kind of a lot of intros, but it was also nice to bounce ideas. So thank you guys so much for coming together.
It's so great to see everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So great.
In future sessions, it'd be fun to get like a little bit more brass tacks on like, I know we spent a lot of time on intros, but like
Mhm.
you're wearing through your gloves, talk about that. You're doing like
Mhm.
just sort of the like tips, tricks, takeaways, especially when we have folks like Amy on,
Yeah.
as a minor point of feedback for next
No,
time.
that's a
It'd be
great feedback too. It's nice if people are coming on, they know more of the beginner stuff. So it's sometimes fun
Yeah.
to just get into the dirtiness of what we actually
You
need.
got people like me just taking way too long on intros, and you just got to like cut us off and be like, hook, you get 60 seconds, set that expectation up front and just
Yeah.
move us forward. Yeah.
That's good
I was-
feedback for sure.
I was gonna say I was a little confused on track and field versus hand cycling because obviously they're not the same, and there was no field to be that we talked about because they're separate.
Completely. We
yeah.
actually are hosting a hand cycling discussion June 24th. So if you guys want to mark your calendars, it'd be nice to have you guys attend that one as well. I'll send out emails as well, but hand cycling specific, only hand cycling, and competitive options as well. So I think we'll dive into a little bit more of the sport on that call on June 24th.
And Megan, it might be helpful if we have people submit questions either before or like right at the beginning so that we can make sure we hit some of those during.
Yeah. And just leave it as an open invite during the meeting of like, as you have questions, think of stuff, throw them in chat. You don't have to speak up, especially if folks are a little more hesitant to come off video and speak or something like that.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's a great tip
Dig
too.
it.
It's nice to make these calls meaningful and beneficial for everyone on the call, especially if we're doing them every other week. So I appreciate you guys' input.
It's nice to see everyone and meet new people. So it was great chatting with everyone. And Rob, always a
Good to see you.
pleasure.
And I love being in a room where someone can use the word easy Ironman.
I
That's
said on the
just
scope of Iron Man because I realize how dumb that sounds. As Iron Man, I always like make a point. As Iron Man go, it's a fast one.
all good. Great to meet you all and hear the good stories. Good work.
Joe, I'd qualified for Boston, and Edie, I qualified for Boston next year. So
I'll be back.
I'm in.
All right, we'll be there.
Napa, Edie.
I'll race you finally.
Yeah.
I wonder if you could beat me now.
Can I just say I was in my race chair that I qualified, but I did my hand cycle in the LA marathon because I just do it for fun. And the Venezuelan, I think he was, race chair guy came in 7 minutes behind me. Like I was on a hand cycle, he was on a race chair. I was like, dude.
Some of those guys
What was your time in LA?
What was that?
What was your time in LA?
132.
Nice.
All right. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Hi,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye.
night. See you guys
Cheers.
soon.
Bye, guys.
See ya.